Are AI image generators ruining art? Let's take a dip into the waters and explore. Today's sponsors, no one. But if you want to check out my affiliate link for audio.com in the description, you can learn how to get production quality music and sound effects for your next production. And for a limited time, you can use the code SAVE70 for 70% off your first year. Now on to the video. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and Happy New Year. Pardon the dust as I'm in the middle of converting some garage space into my new office and studio. Today, I want to talk about AI art, the good, the bad, ethical implications, and so on.
Let's get ethical.
Last December, I submitted a music video I created along with the local artist Kelsey Wilkerson for my business partner's band, the Reinhardts, into a competition. Due to time constraints and availability, I opted to use a mixture of stock footage, archive footage of the band, and the watercolors that Kelsey supplied to feed into Stable Diffusion to create the video. We ended up winning second place.
Second place? Oh man, this will just encourage.
During my research into the process, however, I came across a lot of complaints in the artist community, both locally and online, about the use of AI tools. So much so that I wanted to do a deep dive video about it right away. But the problem with trying to create an editorial piece about this specifically is that technology and the consequences are updating so quickly, all of my information and research is already outdated by the time I write a new script. The method I used to create my music video was already outdated by the time I released it, and that was just a couple weeks later.
Unbelievable technology.
And it's not slowing down, and I really want to get this video out. So, as of the end of January in 2023, here is the state of things. AI image generating tools like Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, DALL-E, and so on are facing a lot of scrutiny and backlash concerning their training models, as an interpretation of their method could constitute copyright infringement. To break it down simply, these tools are trained on the Leon 5B dataset, which scrapes the internet for image examples from a multitude of different sources, like artist hubs like DeviantArt and stock image services like Getty Images. They then feed these images into the algorithm to train their AI to better associate certain words with certain images. The model then continuously generates noise over the images until nothing but noise exists, and then reverses the process to try and generate the image again, so that it can yield better results during the text-to-image generation. Now, immediately, most people can see the issue. All of the examples are being scraped from the internet. That is to say, computer programs are automatically aggregating images without consent of the original artists or the copyright holders. This, in of itself, can almost certainly be construed as copyright infringement. And because of this, the creators of these tools are now steeped in lawsuits from artists outraged and rightly concerned about their work not only being plagiarized, but then reproduced in a way that both violates their consent and renders their work less valuable. Take, for example, Greg Rakowski. He's a popular artist from Poland who creates fantasy landscapes in a classical painting style. If you enjoy Horizon Forbidden West, Ubisoft's Anno, Dungeons & Dragons, Magic the Gathering, then you've definitely seen his work. When the access to Stable Diffusion became public in August of 2022, Rakowski began to see his name become a popular prompt. That is to say that people would use his name to try and generate an image that looked like something he would have drawn. Seeing this, he was initially excited about the prospect of reaching a new audience. Then when he decided to image search his own name a month later, he saw something disturbing. The vast majority of the images that came back certainly looked like his work and had his name attached to it, but none were works that he had actually created.
What's going on, brother?
Huh? Just making some copies.
To date, Rakowski's name has been used as a prompt around 93,000 times. Some of the world's most famous artists, such as Michelangelo, Pablo Picasso, and Leonardo da Vinci, brought up around 2,000 prompts each or less. Now, instead of reaching a new audience, he's just had his artistry co-opted by an algorithm.
Oh man, they took your job?
Now, this is all an example of derivative work, meaning that the images created are based on already existing works. AI didn't start this, it's already existed. Anything adapted from another source or medium is a derivative work, TV shows, movies based on already published books, comic books, video games, and so on are all derivative works. The only difference between those and this AI-generated art is that money changed hands, consent was given under certain stipulations to create the derivative work. That never happened for Wachowski. When I created my music video, I only used stock footage that I was licensed to use under an editorial license, and the archive footage supplied to me by the band, and the watercolors supplied to me by Kelsey, and given consent to use that to train the model. So while I worried for a minute about adding to the problem, I think I actually ticked the boxes required to be above board in using these tools for a series of derivative works in creating my video. And then that combination of those derivative works actually created something, while reminiscent of the derivative work, it was something new with a new intent and new message. And that's what's known as transformative work. Transformative work changes the original in such a way that it fundamentally changes its meaning or adds value by creating new information or aesthetics. And while that's yet to have been argued as the day of this recording, it seems that that would be the best defense for these tools, that their models are meant for transformative work as opposed to derivative, which would determine on which side of fair use their tools actually lie on. And that's not anything new either. I'm sure everyone is familiar with the hope poster of Barack Obama created by Shepard Fairey. What you may not know is that Fairey was actually sued by the Associated Press since he based his artwork on a photograph taken by a freelance AP photographer. The AP claimed that it was copyright infringement. Fairey countered by saying that he was protected under fair use. Now, we don't have a definitive decision on that since the case was settled out of court, with Fairey agreeing to not use any more of the AP photos without first obtaining a license, and both sides now also share the rights to make merchandise bearing the Hope image. A good breakdown of the legal ramifications of the derivative transformative argument in AI is explored by the Corridor crew, and I'll link their video below. It really gets into the weeds of the core issues. Now, assuming that AI is only meant to be used for transformative work, then doesn't that just make that another in a long line of tools available to the public to create art? After all, visual tools in art are not new, and they're only as ethical as the people who use them. AI isn't even new when it comes to those same digital tools. The Content Aware Pool in Adobe Photoshop and Adobe After Effects are both based in AI to scan a selection and fill in using machine learning. There's no shortage of negativity concerning AI in the art space. But I wanted a differing opinion, so I took to Reddit, where there's a huge community of AI artists, and I wanted to ask their opinions about the argument. I did get a couple less than helpful responses, like the following. Artists whose skills are questionable are scared they won't be able to hack it. Most of the arguments against AI tend toward the moronic, and engaging with naysayers is not even worthwhile. As eloquent as that was, other responses were more thoughtful, and they actually do make sense. Much of the hate directed at AI mirrors the fight against cameras many decades ago, and probably screen printing before that. Many believe simply that this is not something that will go away. Some old ways and business models will have to adapt to survive. If we take that opinion to heart, then we can just consider AI as just another form of industry disruption, much like streamlining the workplace. It does displace at its inception, but the new value over time becomes additive and irreplaceable. I asked some of my colleagues their thoughts, which vary between skeptical to cautiously optimistic. Kelly Larkin, an animator friend of mine whose impressive resume includes DreamWorks Animation, had this to say. Ultimately, I believe AI should be an opt-in system if you're an artist. Artists will use each other as inspiration all the time, as well as replicate or take from older masters. But there is a clear-cut difference in how humans take inspiration from images and how AI uses those images. I am always skeptical of new technologies that utilize a ton of data. Where is that data coming from? It has been shown that the Leon 5B image set, which has been used to train countless AI, has private medical records in it. The dubious acquisition and use of this data above all else should be our concern. To echo that sentiment, another animator friend of mine, Sarah Carmichael, who does amazing work over at Spindlehorse Toons, had this to say. There's lots of potential, but with no regulation, it just ain't good. Every time I hear only bad in the wrong hands, or something to that effect, I have to roll my eyes because we're already living in that timeline. Personally, I think the AI image generators are fascinating, and you get such awesome results if you know what you're doing. I think that they are a great addition, or possibly can be, if we can just figure out how to not steal work from other artists. And like Kelly said, it should be an opt-in system, but I don't think that we should shut it down, even if we could, because honestly, we can't. So where did we end up? Is AI art good? Is it bad? Both. And not both.
Yes and no. And you all get A's or F's. And there is no test. And you all failed it. And you all got A's.
Ultimately, I think it's only as good or as bad as the people who use it. And like everything else created by people, it needs to be monitored to prevent the bad. I think it's an amazing development in art and technology, but the implications are too grand and ominous to ignore. There absolutely needs to be consensus and clear guideline of ethical standards when using these tools.
Look, there have to be rules. Every place has rules.
So what do you guys think of AI in art? I'd love to get some perspective from you. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Remember that I'm still offering some free services to a random subscriber once I hit that threshold of 1,000 subscribers. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the other side.